Hey guys, what's up, Cardfight here, and today I'm here with a Giraffa deck profile. So this is not much different from the build that I had before, but there are some new cards from the new set, and so I added them in here. For the most part, the build's the same, but we do get a few new cards to play with, and yeah, just felt like I should show this off. But without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. So for the starting Vanguard, we're running Larva, Mutant, Giraffa. So her skill is when you ride the grade 1 on top of him, you can search your deck for the grade 2. So pretty self-explanatory. If you misride, he just stays in the soul, so try not to misride. But there are some cards here that can help you prevent that, so that's good. Next, we're running the original grade 3 Giraffa. Skill is, if the grade 2 Giraffa is in your soul, the right chain grade 2 Giraffa is in your soul, he gets plus 1000 power, so he's 11k Vanguard after that. And then the second skill is Counterblast 2. Retire 2 of your Megacolony rear guards, and then when this card attack hits a Vanguard, you can pay the cost if you do. Choose 2 of your opponent's grade 1 or lower rear guards and retire them. So it's not a very good skill, but he has a good alpha name, and this is a good alpha deck, so we're going to be running him. Mainly you're going to be riding into this guy, hopefully, because you do have access to Madu if you do ride into him. And yeah, but the new rare card we got is also very good. He has a Vanguard rearguard skill, so riding into him is not bad. Skill is Vanguard rearguard circle count +1. When this card deck hits a Vanguard, if you have a good alpha grade 3 or above Vanguard, then you pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and rest it, and then until the end of your opponent's turn, it gets a new skill. When this unit's placed from the drop zone from the rearguard circle or guardian circle, then you can you have to choose one of your rearguards and retire them, and then this unit cannot stand during the next stand phase. So what this means is if your opponent decides to step over them in order to get an extra attack through or something, then they will have to retire another unit, and even if they intercept with it, they'll have to kill another unit. So basically, this card kind of forces your opponent's hand a little, but he does have to hit. So it kind of combos kind of well with this thing if you put it on rear guard column. So overall, he's a nice card. If this deck got a grade 2 version of this guy, it would be pretty good. But we'll work with what we have. It's a very budget deck. So next, we're running the grade 2 Giraffa from the right chain. So this is the OG BT04 grade 2 Giraffa. Skill is when the grade 1 right chain Giraffa is in your soul, he gets an extra 1000 power, so he becomes a 10k Vanguard, which is actually pretty good. You can 10k guard a lot of attacks now. Second skill is when this card attack hits, you can choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and it cannot stand your next stand phase. So it's only a Vanguard skill, so he's only really good when you ride him. But he does have to get off a name, so you can use it with the stride. Next, we have this new common card from the set. A-class mutant Giraffa. So his first skill is once per turn, count +1. If you have a Vanguard with Giraffa in its name, choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards and rest it, and then at the end of turn, this card gets plus 2000 power. Second skill is activates from hand. Discard this card. If you have a Vanguard named Larva Mutant Giraffa, you can search your deck for a Pupa Mutant Giraffa, which is the grade 1, and ride it as stand and shuffle your deck. So what this means is if you don't have the grade 1 in your hand and you have this in your hand, you can just discard this to search your deck for grade 1 and ride it. So pretty much you're running 8 of the grade 1s, which is pretty good. The first skill is Counterblast 1 to rest 1 and to have him gain 1000 power is okay if you want to hit magical numbers with him. But most of the time, I don't know how often you're going to use this. I personally use like a few times when I have extra Counterblast open. This deck does not actually use that much Counterblast, so it's pretty good. This card does use up Counterblast. It's a Sweet Cocktail. You guys probably know what she does by now, so don't need to explain her. So next we're running 4 of the Pupa mutant, Giraffa. So his skill is, when the grade 0 is in your soul, he gets plus 2,000 power, so he's an 8k base. And then he has an on-call skill, and the on-call skill is, you can, when this card's called to the Vanguard circle, you can discard a grade 3 from your hand, Megacolony unit from your hand, to grade 3 Megacolony unit, if I didn't make that clear enough. You can search your deck for one of him, and add it to your hand, and then yeah. So he's kind of like those new Stride Fodder things now, except instead of revealing grade 3, you had to discard one right away. But yeah, a lot of times I haven't used the skill, but he's good for being a grade 1 Giraffa, so you can buff him with the Stride skill. Next, we're running 3 of the card from Fighter's Collection. So skill is, items from Vanguard circle. During your opponent's stand phase, if there's still a rested unit, if your opponent still controls a rested unit, then you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and then search for a Giraffa card from one of them, and add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So this card activates during the ride phase, so it does not work if he stands everything during their stand phase, because you stand and draw, and then you ride. So what you have to do is you have to stun a unit before they go into their ride phase. So cards like this help him. He helps if you call him as an earlier booster. I want to run one more of these, so I might take out one more of these for one more of these, but because since running 4 of these, we're pretty much running 7 of the Pupa. But so far, it's okay. I don't draw into these as often, as early as I want, but yeah. I'll see. Next, running 3 Stride Fodders. A lot of times you are going to call your grade 3 Giraffas out to attack because you want to buff them with the Giraffa. So running Stride Fodders is kind of important. Next, running Purple Guards. I'm running vanilla Purple Guards to make this deck more budget, but you can run any Perfect Guard you want if you have any spare of the Purple Guard Gs. Honestly, though, you don't really need it because Purple Guard Gs are not super needed in this deck since you don't counterblast a whole lot compared to the Dark Phase build. So for the triggers, running 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. Main problem with this deck is that it doesn't really generate too much hand advantage. This card can help you, but if you don't draw into him, there's nothing really that helps you generate hand advantage. This card might if your opponent keeps their unit on the field, but sometimes it might take too long. So I'm not running stands in this deck, although stands are very good. But yeah, I might run Rainbow, but for now, this lineup is fine. Main reason being, I don't want to not run crits, because when you don't run crit and you're playing against a person who knows your deck, a lot of times they're just going to no guard at 4 damage. So that kind of sucks. And this deck can't really generate crits by itself. So yeah. Alright, so for the Great Force, we are running 4 of the Giraffas. So he's pretty much the only card. Most of the time he's the go-to Stride for the deck. So the skill is, once per turn, counterblast 1. If you have Giraffa Heart, you can choose up to 6 units with Giraffa in its name, and during this turn, it gets a new skill, and the new skill is Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. During turn, when this when your opponent's Vanguard and Rearguards are rested, when all your opponent's Vanguard or Rearguards are rested, then this unit gets plus 5,000 power, and a new skill, and another new skill, and that new skill is Vanguard. Also activates Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, when this card attack hits a Vanguard, yeah, you can choose one of your opponent's Rearguards and stun it, or it doesn't stun it, it just can't stand during the next stand phase. But most of the time it's gonna be stunned, because if it's not stunned, then you can't use his skill anyway, or the 5,000 power anyway. So yeah, pretty cool. The power boost really makes the card more playable. It's not super broken or anything, but it's something. Especially if your whole field of Giraffa, it can become really scary. This deck mainly focus on early game because this deck has the most momentum early game. It kind of fizzles off late game because your opponent's probably going to guard all your attacks, and when they do that, you don't really have as much chance to stun their things because a lot of times you need to hit, except for cocktail. So we're gonna run 2 stun beetles. Stun beetle is really good if you G guard. First, if your opponent goes grade 3, if you go first and your opponent attacks you and you G guard and then you stun beetle right away, if they don't have a pro guard, you can finish the match right there because your opponent's next turn is pretty much dead. But yeah, sometimes if they have a pro guard, then all your plans are pretty much ruined. But that's it. That's pretty much how this deck works. So next we're running 1 Straggle Dipper. So he pumps your field, count 1 G flip, 1 card, and then for every rest of the unit your opponent has, then choose 3 of your units, and they get plus 1,000 power for every one of your opponent's rested units. So he's kind of like not as good as this, but in events that you don't have Giraffa units or something, you always have him. So he's not Superman, or he's not that good. But yeah, he can give non. For example, if you have, for some reason you have like these in your field, like this. I mean, this is a Giraffa, but if you have something like, where is it? Because this guy is not Giraffa. So if you have something like this on your field on your first stride, you might go into him first because there's no point in buffing your striding to Giraffa. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. But this is Vanguard. Next, we're running 2 Darkface. So Darkface is not as good as in this deck as in the Darkface deck for obvious reasons, but he's still pretty good. You guys probably know what Darkface does. And then we're running 1 Madu, because we are running the original Giraffa, and he is a 10k base. When you stride, you do get to activate Madu's skill, even if you have the right soul. So, if you don't have anything good to stride into, you just stride into Madu so that you can pick up your thing, so that you can use it against next turn. For the G Guardians, we're running 1 Dismal, 1 Screw. 2 of the Fighter Selection one where it gets plus 5k if your opponent's rested units are 2 or more. It's pretty easy. And then running 2 of the G Guard that rests all your opponent's units in the back row, as long as it's your Vanguard is being attacked by your opponent's Vanguard. And he also gets plus 5,000 shield for every 2 of your opponent's rested units. So yeah, it's probably a she, but it can help you preserve a lot of hand cards if your opponent's playing decks that don't run stand triggers. So it's good. But that's pretty much it for this deck. It's very cheap deck to build, especially if you already had a Giraffa deck beforehand, or you just had Giraffa singles lying around. I'm not sure how much these are because I got them when I opened the fighter selections. But yeah, I pretty much when I got these are like 20 Hong Kong. I think these were all like 20 Hong Kong. And the rest of this deck is not worth anything. So the G Zone might be a little expensive, but if you're playing Megacolony already, then it shouldn't be that expensive. But yeah, like it's like 80 Hong Kong, 80 Hong Kong, and then all the stuff that you have from opening other sets. And yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck profile. Sorry for rambling, but yeah, this is it's a fun deck. Not super competitive, but it's still a fun deck. If you don't want to play budget, if you have a little bit more money, then you can run the GR in place of this guy. That's probably what I'm gonna do when I'm actually playing the deck. But since this is a budget build, I am not running I think it's Authentidus or whatever his name is. But yeah, definitely run that guy if you have a bit of money left over, or if you're playing Megacolony already. But if you're running a very cheap, low budget build, then this deck it can probably fit your budget. All right, so this is Card and I'll see you guys there. Bye.